which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Gurbachev. Alderman Couch.
Here.
Alderwoman Zerwin. Alderman John Stupi. Alderman Jokers.
Here.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Here.
Alderman Okenfoos. Alderman Ross.
Here.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Here.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of agenda.
Approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mark, I guess we're going to you.
Okay. We did a final inspection on Porter Street. There were a couple of places where people had run cars over and made ruts and stuff that they were going to fix. But we went ahead and authorized the final payment because the work was completed and they made those repairs. I don't usually cover what I do when I go to these quarterly air quality meetings, but there is something that came up at the last meeting that I'd like to bring to your attention and to the attention of anyone who may be watching this. The purpose of the Air Quality Committee is to monitor the region's performance relative to the Clean Air Act, in particular, the ozone levels. And they encourage people to undertake certain activities to ensure that we're doing what we can to meet the levels established by the EPA, and it has been reported in the paper this year because of the relatively mild summer we were able to stay under the threshold. But one of the things that they propose and promote is stopping at the click. When you're fueling your automobile and it turns off, you have a tendency to want to top it off. That's bad because of the fumes that it creates. But what we discovered at this meeting was that it also causes fuel to go through the air recovery chamber. Now, I don't know how many of you fuel up in the St. Louis air attainment zone, but they had those boots on the tank, and that was for vapor recovery because older cars didn't have any vapor recovery system. And as the older cars are leaving the road and the newer cars are replacing them, they have built-in vapor recovery, so the boots are no longer considered necessary. And many service stations have removed them. They have to decertify their vapor recovery systems. But if you have a newer car, when you're filling it up and you top it off, the fumes go back through the vapor recovery system and can destroy the carbon canisters that are there for the purpose of filtering the gas or the gas fumes, and could violate your warranty. So while you should be motivated to stop at the click because it's good for the environment, extra motivation is that you could do damage to that portion of your car, and should it cause a problem, it may be a violation of your warranty. So stop at the click is the message. Do it because it keeps from releasing those fumes into the environment, and do it because it's better for your car. All right, moving on. We took bids for the structural remodeling at the Public Works building that was approved by Landmarks, and Jaywalk Construction was the low bidder. Between Jaywalk, we also bid out the materials separately. The city would be buying the materials, and so we had bids for that. The combined cost of renovating the exterior materials and labor is about $25,000. So it's a little bit less than we had thought it might be, which is good news. And Is that contract on for tonight? That contract is on tonight's agenda. I also attend regional transportation advisory committee meetings. That's held monthly, and the district engineer for the Department of Transportation attends those meetings, and we have an opportunity to talk to him and his staff about any things that concern us. At the last meeting, they were implementing a priority setting program that is being done statewide. The Department of Transportation heretofore has had each county work through their regional council of government, come up with a list of projects that they thought were important for their community, and they just kind of decide which one of those they were going to fund and which ones they weren't going to fund. Well, now they want the regional councils of government to establish regional priorities. So we went through this priority setting program, took 2 months to do, and so all the projects that everybody considered were important were up for grabs, and we all voted, and the #1 project in the region was considered improvements to Cottonwood to support the port. Have they changed the name of that officially yet? They're going to change the name of it eventually to New Bourbon Road or something, which I thought was a pretty significant decision. I mean, even the guy in Iron County who said, I can't see how this might directly affect me, but I know it's good for the region, and he saw the benefits of economic development even as far away as that. So I think certainly the county commission and I were pleased with that conclusion. That doesn't mean a lot of money is going to come our way, but if money is available, that becomes the highest priority. The contract for the grant, the hiking biking trail, the right-of-way for an extension of Parkwood Drive, and the drainage improvements have been submitted to you for consideration tonight. You will note that there are 2 contracts, and the reason for that is because the hiking and biking trail will be funded out of a transportation enhancement grant from the Department of Transportation, and everything about that must be accounted for separately. So the billings from the engineer for that work has to be segregated from any work they do on any other part of the project. And then that contract is like 18 pages long. The contract for the work defining the right-of-way and working on the drainage and working on the road design doesn't have to comply with all the federal and state regulations, so it's 2 pages long. Frank has reviewed both of those. We sent the contract on the grant off to the state. They had about 18 changes they wanted to be made. Those changes were made, and that is what's before you tonight, and that's the reason there are 2 contracts for what we view as kind of the same work. I've kind of last meeting told you about the issues with the railroad and the parking area for the Main Street Trail. We formally requested that be eliminated from the grant, and that information is being kind of run up the hierarchy with the Department of Transportation. We haven't received any indication that they're not going to go along with it, but once they officially, the engineer has to engineer it out and then redraw the page where that's shown, and we have to resubmit that, and that's been done, and MoDOT is probably going to respond whenever MoDOT responds. But it's kind of taken that project off of the list that they keep of inactive projects. So we're to their way of thinking, we're making progress. We met with Mike Perry. Those of you, your code books are organized and updated by Sullivan Publications, who also makes them available under contract with us on the internet. Sullivan has merged with Global Records, and although they're still going to maintain an office in Farmington and the St. Louis. They were never in Farmington. I thought they were in San. Okay. they're going to continue to service, as it's been doing it under a different combined organization. The cost will be about the same for the city, but there's a whole range of services that we'll get now because of this merger. Mr. Perry's position was that everything's going electronic, and he anticipates the day when written code books will no longer be used after the Secretary of State agrees to let us do that. But in any case, we have to decide on what level of service we want from him, and there are now some higher levels that we can get. Frankly, Pam and I didn't think we needed the deluxe model, but we're giving consideration as to whether we ought to move up to the next level of service. We've talked from time to time about updating our building codes. Brenda and Jimmy, and to a lesser extent I, are working on identifying people who might serve on a committee, citizens and builders, design professional, to go through the tedious process of reviewing the 2012 building codes relative to the 2003 codes that we're currently under. Of course, this is like the 2 code cycles in between, so we don't want to adopt without giving careful review to every paragraph the 2012 code and making local amendments that are appropriate for St. Genevieve. Doing that can be a problem, and we're not going to have that problem. But it'll take us a while to go through it, and I look forward to us coming up with something and bringing it to you for consideration after careful review, and for it to have local amendments that we think are reasonable. And that concludes my report, unless you want to talk about a special meeting date.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Other business. Any questions, anybody? Okay. All right, we'll go on to start with Sandra.
Good evening, everyone. You have in front of you some slides, and before I go into that, I just wanted to do a quick update. At our last meeting, well, at your last meeting, I reported that the Welcome Center was going to host the Missouri Folk Arts Program, and we did this just this past weekend. It was on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and it was kind of a different experience for the Welcome Center to have actually a group coming in and meeting there. They really enjoyed the space, and we got a lot of really positive comments. This was a series of people coming in from all over the state in what they call the Missouri Community Scholars series of workshops. And so they were coming in to talk about things that are special, that are handed down from one generation to the next, and that they thought, of course, that St. Genevieve was a great place to host that workshop. We were very glad to have them, and they really enjoyed their time, and we hope that they come back and that they say good things about St. Genevieve when they're out there. So you have in front of you just some statistics that we've had recently. The first one is an update on the October numbers for individual visitors, and you can see the colored spikes there. In October, we were up by about 20% over October of last year. We had, in terms of total visitors, in the month of October, we had a little over 3,000 people through the visitor center. And we always figure that we are the tip of the iceberg, because not everyone who comes to St. Genevieve needs directions or help, or wants to come and go through the displays, but quite a few of them do, and we had 3,000 last month. So October was up by about 20% over last year, and for the year to date, now that we're up into positive numbers, we're about 13% over where we were last year at this time. So we've gotten some good responses and feedback from the bed and breakfasts and the lodging institutions in particular. They were fuller than, usually October is a pretty good month, but they had a good October, and they were fuller into November for longer periods of time. Some of that was certainly due to the weather, but we also hope that some of that is due to some of the advertising and communication efforts that we've taken on. Next, you can see our group visitors. In October of 2012, we had 534 group visitors, and in October 2013, that was 651. So there was about 22% more visitors this year than last year in groups. And then our adult group visitors, we had a fairly significant increase in October 2013 over October of 2012. And then you can see the breakdown of the students, a smaller increase, but still an increase, and then also our passport sales. Passport sales are quickly coming to an end because not as many of the homes are open during the week in the wintertime, and they have different hours, so we won't see much revenue or foot traffic as a result of passports in the next couple of months. But we still do have some, and we have groups that come. We do try to encourage them to visit all the attractions that they can fit into their schedule while leaving time for shopping. So lately, there have been some fairly, quite a bit of activity in terms of planning for 2014, not only with the Tourism Tax Commission, but the Tourism Advisory Council. And we are hosting an evening meeting next week on the 19th. The Tourism Advisory Council will meet in the evening, and certainly the public is invited. We're going to do, in addition to the regular meeting, we're going to do some brainstorming on smaller events that can be added to kind of increase the number of events that we have on a regular basis in addition to our large signature events, have more things, smaller things going on that would keep people busy and coming back to St. Genevieve on a regular basis. So that's Tuesday night here, and then on the 21st, I have actually sent notice out to all of the business owners and the event planners who do these large events to do a social media training. This was something that the Tourism Advisory Council had indicated that there would be an interest in, and in working with the local merchants, I've certainly seen that there's an interest in that. So we're going to do that next week on the 21st. We'll have 2 sessions. These will be held in a hands-on environment at St. Genevieve High School with computers in front of people, so they're training and learning the skills and practicing them. So we're going to have like a 101 level class in the afternoon. That's for people who maybe they use Facebook, but all they use it for is to kind of track what their children or grandchildren are doing. They don't really use it for marketing purposes. So they have some basic familiarity, but haven't really translated that into a marketing tool for their business. And then that evening from 6 to 8 p.m., we're going to really dive in with some specific strategies and tactics that businesses can use to leverage their own marketing program at very little cost. So, yes.
Don't anticipate it being a problem. How many spots do you have?
We have 30 computer terminals, and so as long as we have 30 people or less, we're golden. If we have more than 30 people, I'm going to ask people if they would be interested in sharing a terminal, because not everyone, you know, I mean, sometimes we actually have maybe a husband and wife or 2 people that are partners in the business, and so they might be okay sharing a terminal. Right now, that's not a problem, but we've had a pretty good response so far. I think we're at about 15 or 20 on one of them, and maybe about 22 on the other one.
So the same subject matter will be covered in both, or it'll be
No, the one in the
advanced?
afternoon is a more
Beginners and
basic.
advanced.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave?
Good evening.
Got my report there. We've been doing a lot of work inside the shop, trying to move things around for the contractors that are in there working. Gas, with any luck, should be on Monday. But then we won't be able to use it because then once they start tearing the windows out, we'll still be right back where we are. So
I polled the board about going ahead with Portis Street improvement because we had it down to one lane in front of the doctor's office. And,
Point base.
huh?
Point Base.
Point Base, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
okay. So I thought Portis was done.
Yeah. And so I called Dave and said, go ahead with it, and so he was scheduling the work, and, but we gotta wait till it's a couple of days worth of concrete work, so we gotta wait till we know we're gonna have temperatures at night that won't be, harm the concrete while it's curing. So what we decided to do is we're gonna go ahead and open it back up and cut out the sections that will, and then keep it full with gravel and monitor it daily to make sure it stays in place and it's a good driving surface, and then just wait for that window of opportunity we can get in there and get the paving done.
We waited too long, it's too cold now, so.
And, I looked at the long-term forecast and I don't, you can't predict that far out, but it doesn't look like, it's going to be a while before we get cooperative weather for pouring concrete.
But we will, starting Monday, we'll dig it up and we'll fill it with inch minus, and we'll compact it real good and keep watching it, so.
You're just taking out what you got barricaded off?
Yeah. We'd have to take the whole thing out,
That amount of work is, we had Point Base as one of the projects for consideration, and this is part of that overall project, but it's only about a fourth of what we figured we would end up doing when we do all the bad spots.
But on that same note, if you remember last year, I put $10,000 in the budget to do that one section, then all of a sudden this year, it went up another $5,000 because it's worse. And as we was out there today looking at it, it's worse than it was a few months ago. The curbing's all shot now.
Yeah, I think we had 18 in the proposed
Yeah.
project.
I would suggest that you let me get bids on doing that from Oakwood to Parkwood and just see what it's going to cost us to redo the whole thing. That concrete is shot. I'm afraid of, what we put new, you're going to drive on the old stuff and it's just going to bust right up. So,
You're talking about just informal bids?
yep.
Rather than,
Well, I'm going to get an estimate.
well, yeah, but I'm
Actually, I'm in the process of doing that tonight anyway, so,
On Parkwood?
on Point Base Drive.
Oh, okay, I thought you said Parkwood.
Well, up to Parkwood. Oakwood to Parkwood.
Have you explored the possibility of using calcium
Mm-hmm.
chloride?
Yes, we have. But you're going to need at least 5 days for that to cure. And if it gets down below that, you can put all the calcium, but it's going to it's still, concrete, it's going to get hard by slowly, curing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no sense in wasting a bunch of money and end up being just the way it is in a couple of years.
Well, I know that they pour concrete in cold weather if that was the problem, by using calcium.
Probably professionals do that, yes, but we're not professionals, and it's going to take us a
I
while.
disagree, I've seen you pour concrete. I've never-
Not that much of it you
And
haven't.
there's some, not disagreement, but there's some thought that it has an effect on the strength of the concrete. Although I can't quantify that, so.
It'll hold till I'm off the board.
Anything else for Dave? Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening.
You have the fire department's report in front of you. Should have been updated on our last meeting, I guess. The committee, as far as that we put together, met, I guess, a couple weeks ago. You may have said something at the last meeting. I wasn't here. No.
No, not much yet.
But they spent a lot of the evening physically looking at the truck and with some ideas, and then there's we're investigating now as far as looking at specifically what the estimates were as far as what was wrong with it and what could be done with it. and the possibility of getting other estimates and getting some people in there to look at it. So they're kind of exploring all the avenues with the existing truck that we've got. And then we've talked about some other options as far as where we go from here after that. But I think we're going to seriously exhaust all the options, looking at, is this truck worth fixing or not, and what those kind of options are. So that's where the committee is at right now. Don't have one yet, but we will probably look to schedule one next week. To have one within the next 2 weeks, probably. Eric is here. Okay.
Eric apologizes, he's got back problems. We kind of laid him up.
Well, then we'll go into Steve's report, if nobody has any questions.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. A couple things I want to touch on from last month was there was a mechanical failure of the operating nut in the decant valve at the wastewater plant. Allowed a rather large amount of, made a mess down there, needed cleaned up. DNR was notified about it. They came and looked at it, said we did a very good job cleaning it up. There'd be no other contact from DNR on that. The other one, well number 4, went down last month. Had to have the motor and pump replaced. Flynn Drilling did the work. Had the well going back in a matter of hours.
Steve, there's an item on the agenda tonight for approving the purchase of the cable camera equipment. Would you kind of run through the economics of that in terms of what we spent, and what this cost, and how it works out?
The sewer inspection camera that we're requesting tonight is, well, it's used to identify broken pieces, inspect the internal condition of the pipe, blockages. In the past, we've had to hire this type of work out. In the past year, we've spent close to probably $8,000 on sewer inspections, on camera work. It's used for illegal connections, broken pipe.
And what is the bid?
The low bid that came in was $11,750.
So it'll pay for itself in the second year.
Yes. I also have some material if anybody wants to look at it.
Does that bid number have a time limit?
The bids are good for 30 days.
Budgeted item, Matt.
It is a budget.
Yes.
Anything else for Steve? Steve, I noticed you say you probably have all the meters switched out by the end of the year, or pretty close.
Yeah, we're actually down to 13 residential meters right now.
Okay.
We can be done tomorrow.
Yes, and for the first time since the meter change program started, we've went from 3.5 weeks of reading meters. They were completed today in 7 hours.
Wow. Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else? All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any committee reports? Anybody?
P&Z met for a special use permit for Keith Kurtz out at the old KISS building for auto body, and that was okayed by the board. It was unanimous. I think there was 5 members present, is that correct? Martin and Tom were there. I don't know if they had anything to add. Well, I guess there's going to be no painting there. That was one thing that was...
Well, it doesn't include painting.
Right.
Well,
but
it may later.
I think he anticipates coming back.
Yeah.
Once he got it, once
But
he has
now-
his painting equipment and identified, and he can answer the questions about ventilation and all those things.
Initially, it's just auto body, and, well, sales also. There's gonna be sales at that location. You guys got anything to add on that?
No, I think that will be on the agenda of our next Alderman meeting. Is that right?
Yes, there's a public notice period for rezoning that keeps us from getting it on your agenda right after we have the P&Z meeting, so it always goes to the next meeting.
Okay. All right, we'll go to approval of the financial report for October.
Move approval.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes of October the 24th.
Move approval.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, Resolution 2014-01, resolution authorizing the 1992 sewer jet machine and the 1997 Chevrolet Blazer to be declared surplus property. Question?
How do we move these pieces of equipment along? What's the process for selling this equipment?
Well, the reason that the Blazer is on there was that Barley said that there was a trade-in program for any vehicle you had, you'd get credit against the purchase of the new truck we've been discussing. So I put this up for surplus because it's on its last leg. As it turns out, they informed me day before yesterday, it has to be 1999 or newer, so this doesn't qualify. So we don't intend to dispose of this unless we did it in a trade-in like that. But rather than remove it, establishing it as surplus doesn't obligate us to get rid of it. It just enables us to do it. And before we would do it, in this case, I'd certainly consult with you. There are a number of websites that have public equipment websites that we can use to get rid of equipment, but we would do it in the most competitive fashion. We have advertised, particularly cars that we thought, you didn't want to sell to a kid who's going to rely on it for transportation. We've advertised in the paper and gotten responses for some of our cars that people like to buy and fix up for demolition derbies and things. That variety of ways we dispose of it.
What do we feel like the value left in the 1992 sewer jet machine is?
That would be a Steve question.
Is there a market for that type of piece of equipment? I mean, the reason we're replacing it is it's done, right?
Yeah, we've already replaced that machine
Yeah.
with the newer model.
I guess my question is, do we think we're going to get anything out of it? Or just
I would say-
basically just want it to go away?
I would say your best bet would be to contact Co-Equipment or a company. There are a couple of companies that do rebuild those and do sell them. They would come in and look it over, and they would offer you X. It might be $200, it might be $2,000, but not a real big market for the average person to have one. But a lot of small communities that does not have one would like to buy rebuilt.
I think it would weigh for quite a bit, wouldn't it? I mean, as far as even salvage. Might be.
Any other discussion? We got a motion and a second, right? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resolution 2014-02, a resolution appointing Karen Herzog to the St. Genevieve Community Access Channel 798 Board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2014-03, a resolution appointing Ed Millinger to the St. Genevieve Community Access Channel 798 Board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No old business, we'll go right into new business. Bill number 3948, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hearst Roche Engineers Incorporated for professional engineering services of a 10-foot wide concrete hiking and biking trail that will connect Parkwood Drive and Progress Parkway.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's in the back.
Bill number 3949, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hearst Roche Engineers Incorporated for professional engineering services for Parkwood Drive to Ball Park Field roadway and stormwater detention design.
I have a question.
Okay, Teddy, and who seconded?
Second.
Question?
On the backside here, it said conflict of interest. I don't know why I didn't understand what it was relating to.
You have to certify that they don't have a conflict.
Okay. Because it just said no real.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bill number 3950, first reading.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a 2013 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 one-ton pickup from Barley Automotive Incorporated in St. Genevieve, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $26,799.
Move to approve.
And a second, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Move for second reading, please.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of second reading of 3950?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 3950.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a 2013 Chevrolet Silverado 3500 one-ton pickup from Barley Automotive Incorporated in St. Genevieve, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $26,799.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call?
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3950 now becomes ordinance 3889.
Thank you. Bill number 3951, first reading.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a 2013 Bunnell V-Box spreader from William Noby and Company Incorporated of St. Genevieve, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $7,612.30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Need a second reading. Is it going to snow before our next meeting?
You want to move?
Need a reading?
I think all the bidding process and all that's been done.
We're good?
Sure.
Go with it? I move for a second reading.
Second.
All in favor of second reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 3951.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a 2013 Bunnell V-Box spreader from William Noby and Company Incorporated of St. Genevieve, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $7,612.30.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Couch.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3950 now becomes ordinance 3890.
Okay, thank you. Bill number 3952, first reading.
An ordinance approving the purchase of materials from County Do-It-Center in St. Genevieve, Missouri for the Public Works Building Window Project.
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Move for a second on this.
Second.
It wouldn't hurt if they could get started
We need to get
sooner
moving.
better with the fact that we are a little lacking in meetings.
Yeah. So he made a
You
motion?
made the motion, Buck?
Yeah.
And who seconded?
I did.
Sean, okay. Okay, all in favor of second reading of 3952?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 3952.
An ordinance approving the purchase of materials from County Do-It-Center in St. Genevieve, Missouri for the Public Works Building Window Project.
Move.
Second.
Roll call?
Alderman Jokers?
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig?
Yes.
Alderman Couch?
Yes.
Alderman Okenfuss?
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi?
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield? Alderman Ross?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3952 now becomes ordinance 3891.
Okay, thank you. Bill number 3953, first reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with J. Wolk Construction LLC of St. Genevieve, Missouri in the amount of $18,100 for the renovation of the St. Genevieve Public Works Building.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I ought to,
Second reading on this?
Yes.
who wants to make a motion
I'll
for
move
second
it.
reading?
Second. Oh, you do?
Linda
Second.
made the motion.
Let them fight it out.
Okay, second.
Somebody do it so we can get this going.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, all in favor of second reading of bill number 3953?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 3953.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with J. Wolk Construction LLC of St. Genevieve, Missouri in the amount of $18,100 for the renovation of the St. Genevieve Public Works Building.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Ross,
Yes.
Alderman Okenfuss,
Okenfuss, you said?
uh-huh.
Yes.
Alderman Couch,
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig,
Yes.
Alderman Jokers,
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3953 now becomes ordinance 3892.
Thank you. Bill number 3954, first reading.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a sewer inspection camera from Key Equipment, St. Louis, from Maryland Heights, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $11,750.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
It's a month till our next meeting.
Yep.
I move for a second.
Second.
Call on Sean. All in favor of second reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, second reading, bill number 3954.
An ordinance approving the purchase of a sewer inspection camera from Key Equipment, St. Louis, from Maryland Heights, Missouri, in an amount not to exceed $11,750.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call?
Alderman Couch,
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig,
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Okenfuss.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Broomfield. 7 yes, 0 no's, 1 absent. Bill number 3954 now becomes ordinance 3893.
Any other business you want to talk about at another meeting? Or we've got a couple issues. Oh, I'm sorry, skip public comments. Public comments, anyone? Anybody? All right, now we'll go to other business.
Okay. We should have had election tonight, and we neglected to get it on the agenda. And in addition to that, we're completing the grant that I talked to you about to fund part of the engineering design for the water system improvements. And it's got a deadline at the end of the month. And we only did a single reading on the engineering for the hiking biking trail. So there's 3 things that we should take care of on a special meeting. It's just a 3-item meeting, quick and dirty.
Clean.
I'm sorry, quick and clean. The question is, when would you like to do that?
After
You
this
can't take
meeting?
care of it tonight.
No, because they weren't posted.
Okay. And as long
Because
as
you don't
we
have
have
all the
a quorum,
information back
we all
on
don't have to be
the,
here.
on the grant, right?
The grant should be complete just tomorrow, but it wasn't complete for tonight, so.
So we had to have a meeting, and the election thing is to open the data, schedule the election. We got to pass that by ordinance, so that'll. So I don't know what,
There's court next Thursday.
Oh,
Is there court next Thursday? It's on the calendar, I wasn't sure.
well, we can have it.
Can't have it Tuesday or
What's the-
Thursday, or we could have it earlier, we
Yeah,
could
that's
have
what
it
I was
like
wondering.
at 5, if you could make it at 5.
That bad for you, Linda?
But you
Linda
only
can't
need
make it.
5.
Yeah, we
only
have
5 people.
5.
I can't make it.
How do you feel about these topics, though? I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
Could you do a day
policy
meeting?
decision. Sure, anybody can make a day meeting. We just need a quorum.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of dispose of these housekeeping items.
Pick a day when the room's available and
I don't know about
See if
election.
you can get 5
just
people.
do it.
Well, if it snows and we don't have that new spreader,
I
I don't know if I
said,
can make it.
The election?
it was all, just, that would be something you'd be missing, Linda. You might get elected to something if he's not here.
It's just setting the date for the
It's just setting
municipal
the date.
election
yeah, it's a
in April.
All right, all
formality.
right, never mind.
That's fine.
It's
Yeah, I
always-
knew what you meant.
What, second Tuesday?
Right.
I don't know.
Just pick a date and see
Monday,
how many
Tuesday?
people can be there.
I can't make Monday.
Landmarks will be
Mondays
here.
are no good.
Tuesday,
We're doing early.
oh, we're doing a date, yeah, Tuesday, good,
Yeah, I can be here.
Hour 5?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock Tuesday?
How many can be
Should
here?
be good.
5. Just see if you can get
Don?
5.
That's
I
it.
should be okay with that.
There's 5.
I don't think I can make
Oh,
it.
you can't.
What Eddie could maybe say.
What are you telling me?
I never know.
Yeah. No?
So it's borderline, you
No,
might
I-
have 4.
Tuesdays, I don't usually get back until like 5:30.
Well, about 6.
6, that'd be good.
Um,
6?
What time's the
6
TAC meeting?
6 is good with me.
I
7.
think, no, there's another meeting in here at 6. Brenda has a Board of Adjustment meeting or something at 6.
Can we meet
Oh, yeah, she
outside?
does. It's about that
It won't be
Alturas thing.
televised, but
That's
I
Tuesday.
Oh,
I guess they could set it.
Unfortunately, I booked up a bunch of stuff since we were having the meeting.
then you
Well, you know, the BOA, she had, look, move it back a half an hour
our meeting,
at the border
but that was advertised in the paper.
already.
Do you want to do one around 1 or
I'm here,
noon?
I'm here all day, every day. Except when I'm not.
You said it wouldn't take long, 5:30 on Tuesday or something like that? or-
5:30.
I can try 5.
It won't take 20 minutes, it won't take 15 minutes.
All right, 5:30 Tuesday.
Let's do that.
We're going to get an agenda, right?
No, I can't have it.
What, you can't
I'm
make
gonna get
5?
out at 6:30.
Oh, really? Man.
So you 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're going to get an agenda, right?
Yes, sir.
There's at
John,
least,
John might. he'd
there's
probably
5
be
or
around.
6 of you.
It will,
Yeah, he usually gets back early afternoon.
Mhm.
it will be 24 posted.
Yeah. Okay, Tuesday.
Okay.
5:30 Tuesday.
Any other business?
John
We
asked, whoops, I'm sorry.
Go-
Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
John asked if y'all wanted to do the Thanksgiving dinner again or forget about it. So he's in Baltimore, so I said I'll bring it up.
All right, yeah, I think everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, good evening.
Everybody in for it?
I guess that we know when it's gonna happen and try to make it.
He usually calls and works it out with Pam.
Okay, all right, we'll do it then. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up.
Move to adjourn?
No, can't do that yet.
Okay.
Let's let somebody.
Two things I wanted to mention. One is, here's your check for your refund on your repair cap money that
How
wasn't
much is
spent.
that?
Great.
How many dollars is that?
It's $30-some hundred.
That's nice.
Split that 10 ways.
The other thing is Joe, wanted to introduce Joe Slice. I think most of you all know Joe, but Joe is a recent graduate from the Alliance Academy. It's our third time we've had an academy, and there's 10 people. There's 10 people throughout the company that was chosen to attend these meetings, and Joe got an opportunity to be one of those, and I just felt like you all needed to know that, because he's working here.
Good job,
And
Joe.
he's here to answer any questions that y'all might have for him.
Joe's capacity right now? Your job description right now?
Field maintenance mechanic is my description. I really work half a day at the wastewater, half a day at the water plant.
So you can run either plant?
Yeah.
Something about your
That's very,
licenses,
very important.
something about your certifications.
Well, certification right now, I only got a D in wastewater, or in water.
He's passed the certification and signed up for some other stuff.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job.
And I got distribution 1, so.
That's like after a year. Or
Yeah.
Joe's been working for them.
1 year,
1 year.
about a week ago, yeah.
Which is a good indication of somebody's
Yeah.
enthusiasm.
Good job, Joe.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Good stuff.
Anything else? So we do need to go into, I hope, a short closed session to talk about personnel matter.
Move to go to closed session for
Personnel.
personnel matters.
There we go.
Alderman Couch,
Need a second on that?
Yes.
Alderwoman Zerwig.
Yes.
Alderman Donnie Stuckey.
Yes.
Alderman Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Okenthus.
Yes.
Alderman Ross.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bergfeld.